Matchup number 4 for Week 2 is Team Gobo versus Centurions. As previously stated in matchup number 2, Gobo traded his high water mark in Adrian Foster for Steve Smith, and we know where Steve Smith's going to go. Bye, Jabbar Gaffney. Hello, Steve Smith. And as running back, he's not going to have a giant drop-off in LaShawn McCoy. Everybody better be scared of Gobo because he just made his team a lot better at the expense of House of Pain. House of Pain is House of Gifts for Team Gobo, I suppose. He said that it's because of his looks. I think he had to give him money or something. ESPN has this slated with, obviously, Team Gobo favored 138 to 108. That's a difference of 29 points. Josh, if you look into it, I mean, we all know who Gobo has by now because they're all marquee players. He's got Drew Brees, Chris Johnson, MJD, McCoy, Roddy White, and now Steve Smith. I'm just gonna tell you he's gonna be favored in every single matchup in the rest of the year. I mean, him and Wembley are gonna be 1-2, and you just improved the number 1 or number 2 team's squad. So let me run it down. Drew Brees had a pedestrian, and especially for him, a pedestrian-like performance in Week 1. You can't keep Drew Brees down. He's going to get his points, and I think he's going to get his points this week against the San Francisco defense, unfortunately for me, considering I'm a 49er fan. But bright lights of Monday night, the Saints like to run, and you're not going to run a lot on the 49ers, so I definitely see him getting a lot of points through the air. So I see Drew Brees getting about 17, 18. I definitely wouldn't put past him getting 20 points this week. On the other side, Centurions has Peyton Manning. He put up giant numbers last week in the loss to Houston. I see him doing the same thing, except in a win against the Giants. 20 points for Peyton Manning this week. Running backs, Pierre Thomas, Ricky Williams, Ahmad Bradshaw. Ahmad Bradshaw showed up really big for Centurions last week, really big, just like I predicted. Thank you very much. And now he's going against an Indy Colts defense that gave up 200-plus yards to Arian Foster last week. Now, they're not going to give up that much to Bradshaw, but they're going to give up 100-plus and a tutty to him. Look at 17 points from Bradshaw. Ricky Williams against Minnesota, don't like him. I would bench him under 10 points. Pierre Thomas, you didn't even see Pierre Thomas in the first half. Towards the second half, you did. Against San Francisco's defense, though, I don't like him against that run defense. I'm going to slate him. I'm going to put him only at 9 points this week. On the other side, Chris Johnson, Maurice Jones-Drew, McCoy. Maurice didn't show up huge last week. He really didn't. I still don't see him showing up that big against San Diego's defense. I say Maurice Jones-Drew gets around 12 points. Chris Johnson against the Pittsburgh defense. Pittsburgh, if a defense can shut down a back, it's Pittsburgh's. Throughout history, ever since the 70s, they're going to be shutting down running backs. Chris Johnson's not going to be an exception. But they do like to run the ball right in the end zone. I see not a 100-yard gain. I think it breaks his 14-week stretch of 100-yard games. I see him around 80 with a touch, so about 14 points for Chris Johnson. LaShawn McCoy against Detroit's defense. LaShawn McCoy, it's actually a good pickup, not a big drop. I see him around 14, 15 points this week. If you look at the receivers, Roddy White and Steve Smith now for Gobo has a lot better ring to it than Roddy White and Jabbar Gaffney. Them combined, I see about 28 points, maybe 30. On the other side, Clone Centurions, Larry Fitzgerald, Kelvin Johnson, Megatron got screwed over last week by the touchdown. Sorry, Bears fans, you know it was true, and you know the next year that rule is going to be changed, and it's going to be called the Kelvin Johnson rule or the Megatron rule or whatever like that. Enjoy your victory, Bears fans, but please, for God's sake, don't brag about a victory that you know you lost. Okay? That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Enjoy the W. I would be happy that my team is 1-0, but I still would not be bragging about a game that we should have lost, and it was just some bullshit technicality. Okay, I'm just saying it. I mean, I know you Bears fans like to do that anyhow. Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald. I see him about equal with Gabo this week, about 27 to 30 points. Tight ends, Antonio Gates, Keen Winslow. Until Vincent Jackson comes back for the Chargers, it's all Antonio Gates. It's going to be all Antonio Gates. Unfortunately, for the teams playing Gabo, until Vincent Jackson comes back, if he comes back, Gates is going to be putting up 10 to 15 to 20 points every single game. Keen Winslow for Tampa Bay. He's a good talent. He's never really come out of his shell. 6 points, big difference. This week's fantasy bust in this matchup, is Ricky Williams. Pull him. I don't like him. He's the number 2 running back against a very good run defense. Pull him out. The fantasy explosion. Ahmad Bradshaw, like I said before, Indianapolis has no run defense, and Bradshaw shows why he is the lead back in New York. So that's about it, other than my prediction, which is Gabo by 32. Sorry, Centurions. You fall to 1-1. Gabo, welcome to 2-0, buddy.